This morning, before you even had your first coffee, there is a good chance you said at least one of these 5 phrases to your child. Maybe you said it twice, maybe 3 times, and you said it with love because everything you say to your children comes from love. But here is something Japanese child development research has confirmed over decades of study, that some of the most loving things Western parents say every single day are quietly, invisibly, and consistently building the exact opposite of what those parents want for their children. Not because the parents are wrong, but because the words are. And Japanese parents, through centuries of cultural wisdom and a parenting philosophy rooted in something called kotodama, the belief that words carry living energy that shapes reality, discovered a completely different way of speaking to children. A way that builds confidence instead of dependency, resilience instead of anxiety, inner motivation instead of external approval seeking. Today Sodhar is going to show you all 5 phrases. And more importantly, what Japanese parents say instead. The first phrase is one you have almost certainly said today. It is be careful. It sounds protective. It sounds loving. It sounds like exactly what a good parent should say. But developmental psychologists who study the effect of language on children's risk assessment have found something deeply counterintuitive. Every time a parent says be careful to a child who is climbing, running, exploring, or trying something new, the child's brain does not register safety information. It registers doubt. It receives the message, you are not capable of assessing this situation yourself. You need me to assess it for you. Repeated across thousands of interactions in early childhood, be careful builds a child who is genuinely less confident in their own judgment, more anxious in novel situations, and more dependent on external reassurance before taking action. Japanese parents do not say be careful. They say nanka kizuku koto aru, which means is there anything you notice. This single phrase does something extraordinary. It activates the child's own awareness. It says, I trust you to observe this situation. I trust your judgment. What do you see? And a child whose judgment is trusted hundreds of times learns to trust it themselves. The second phrase is one that most parents believe is the highest form of encouragement. It is, you are so smart. Western parenting culture became obsessed with praising intelligence after the self-esteem movement of the 1980s and 1990s. Tell your child they are smart and they will believe it and become it, except the opposite is what the research shows. Carol Dweck's landmark studies at Stanford University found that children who are repeatedly told you are so smart develop a fixed mindset. They begin to avoid challenges because failure would threaten their identity as a smart person. They become risk-averse. They underperform when tasks get difficult, and they are significantly more likely to lie about their results to maintain the smart label. Japanese parents have always known this not from Dweck's research, but from a cultural philosophy called ganbaru, which means doing one's best with full effort and perseverance regardless of the outcome. Instead of you are so smart, Japanese parents say you worked really hard on that. You did not give up. The praise is for the process, the effort, the persistence, the showing up, not for the outcome or the identity. And a child praised for effort tries harder the next time. A child praised for intelligence avoids the next challenge. The third phrase is one Western parents say approximately 40 times per day. It is hurry up. Get your shoes on, hurry up. Eat faster, hurry up. We are going to be late. Hurry up. In Japanese culture, the concept of the sacred value of unhurried space and time, is treated as essential to a child's developing sense of self. A child who is constantly hurried through their morning routine, their meals, their getting dressed process, is a child whose nervous system is permanently activated at a low level of urgency and stress. Every hurry up tells the child your pace is wrong. Your rhythm is inconvenient. You need to be faster to be acceptable. Japanese parents design their mornings and their routines to allow the time a child actually needs. When a Japanese child takes 4 minutes to put on their shoes, because 4 minutes is what a 3-year-old needs to put on their shoes, the parent waits. Silently, with patience that communicates your pace is right. You are not too slow. You are exactly as you should be. And that child grows into an adult whose internal rhythm is not permanently scrambled by a childhood of being told to rush. The fourth phrase is one of the most universally used and most quietly damaging phrases in Western parenting. It is do it because I said so. It is said in frustration. It is said when explanations have failed. It is said when a parent has hit their limit and compliance is needed immediately. And in the short term it works, the child complies. But Japanese parenting philosophy identifies a crucial distinction between two kinds of obedience. There is moju, which means blind obedience, doing what you are told because of external authority. And there is jishu-teki, which means autonomous motivation, doing the right thing because you understand why it is right. Do it because I said so builds moju. It produces children who comply in the presence of authority and abandon those behaviors the moment the authority is absent. Japanese parents take the longer, slower, more effortful route of always explaining the why. Not because the explanation will always be accepted, it will not, but because repeated exposure to the why builds jishu-teki, the internal moral compass that makes children trustworthy, responsible adults even when nobody is watching. The fifth and final phrase is perhaps the most universally said and least examined. It is good job eating, good job sitting still, good job sharing. In Western culture, good job has become the automatic verbal reward for almost every child behavior, and it sounds harmless, it sounds positive, but developmental researchers including Alfie Kohn have documented the way that constant external evaluation, even positive evaluation, undermines intrinsic motivation. A child who hears good job constantly begins to perform behaviors for the praise rather than for their own internal satisfaction. They stop asking, do I enjoy this? They start asking, will this get a good job? They become what psychologists call praise-dependent, unable to evaluate their own effort or satisfaction without external input. Japanese parents use a concept called jibun-de-kangeru, think for yourself, which extends to self-evaluation. Instead of good job, a Japanese parent asks, how do you feel about what you did? How did that go for you? What do you think about the way you handled that? And the child, asked to evaluate themselves, builds the most important skill that no amount of good jobs can create, the ability to be their own judge. So here is what Sodhar wants you to remember from these 5 phrases. You are not a bad parent for saying them. Every parent in the Western world says them. They are embedded in the culture, inherited from your own parents, reinforced by the world around you. But now you know what Japanese parents have practiced for centuries, that the words you say to your child every ordinary day are not small. They are building something. They are building the brain that will navigate every challenge this child ever faces, the internal voice that will speak to them when no one else is in the room. Choose those words the way Japan chooses them, with the awareness that language is not just communication. Language is construction, and every word you say to your child is a brick in the foundation of who they are becoming.